Hey family, it's your boy Mike. Listen, I'm here in Compton at the Woodlawn Cemetery. Many of you who are from the area, you know Woodlawn Cemetery, which is directly across the street from Lincoln Cemetery. You know that Woodlawn Cemetery has been abandoned. The state is, through my efforts, of stepping in and trying to bring some kind of dignity and respect to the cemetery and those who are buried here in this cemetery. I just met this sister who is absolutely incredible. Her name is Celeste Bishop. Her mother and two sisters were bludgeoned to death. They were both killed. And they're laid to rest here along with her grandmother who died later on. This was in the 70s. And this cemetery has been closed down. The water's been shut off. This cemetery has been in bad repair. That's why I got involved in what's going on here. The city of Compton, we're working together with the State Department of Cemetery Boards to try to resolve and bring dignity even to those who have passed. They deserve to have dignity as well. And so we want to restore dignity back to this cemetery. I have family members here in this cemetery. I was having breakfast with Dr. Benjamin Hartwick of Praise of Zion. His mother's buried here in this cemetery, and so many others. When you could not, in the 60s, be buried in a white cemetery, blacks had no choice but to bury them in the closest cemetery that would, and that was Lincoln Memorial Park Cemetery and Woodlawn Cemetery, directly across the street. Lincoln is in the city of Compton, many people don't know, and then Woodlawn is in the city of Compton. And so I'm here. Miss Bishop is leading an effort here, even though the cemetery is closed. The operator, Ruben, his license has been revoked by the state. Families are coming here of loved ones who are buried here to bring some dignity back here. My job is to bring this cemetery up to standard. But I want you to meet this incredible sister. And I want you to look, before I show you her, look at what's going on. We have individuals who have fought in our country. We have the Spanish soldiers who are buried here, as well as some great other military African Americans who've been buried here as well. So there has been some historical factors that have been brought out here about this cemetery. And so thank you, love, thank you. And so look at the volunteers. Even though there's no money, there's no resources being poured into here, the water's been cut off, that's not going to deter the people who are determined to, again, give dignity to those loved ones who have lost their lives, who are here. Take a look. So this is the back part of Woodlawn Cemetery. They're cutting this tree, trimming this tree right now, just because of the fireworks. And if any fireworks come over here, this whole place is going to go up in flames because there's no water. You see green, you don't see any green. You see nothing but dry, desolate here. Some of the trees are still here. I don't know where the trees are getting water from, but we have family members here. We have Latinos. We have African Americans here who are rolling up their sleeves, giving their loved ones dignity here. And we got brothers here that's cutting the trees down, trimming the trees. Again, we have Spanish soldiers who fought for this country who are laid to rest. And we want to make sure that loved ones, and as well as their memory, continue to live on to their contributions to the United States of America. And so let's look at the ground. Let's look at the ground. Look how hard the ground is. That tree, we have trees that has fallen over. So we understand that the Deltas were here helping out, volunteering their time. So I'm going to put out a plea as soon as I introduce you to Miss Bishop. Miss Bishop? So I have some followers. Can you tell people about your story and what has driven you to do something that other people haven't done, and that is trying to give dignity to even those who have lost their lives, those who are dead, who are buried here?
Okay.
So why don't you introduce yourself, first of all?
Hello, everyone. My name is Celestina Bishop. I started a nonprofit called One Section at a Time.
Your shirt, one section at a time?
Yes. So Mother's Day, May 10th, 2020, I came to the cemetery to pay homage to my mother. My mother and my three sisters were all murdered January 21st, 1977. So the only history I have of my mother is the cemetery and the night that they were murdered. So when I came over, I couldn't get in the gate, one, because it was locked, and two, when I hopped over the gate, the conditions of the cemetery was already, havoc. But when I was able to come over, it was in deplorable conditions. It was just trees covering graves, especially my mom's. And I was really distraught when I left. I was just in disbelief. Like, when you're growing up, they tell everyone to invest into your death. That's what you get life insurance for. And then your family is taught to, pick the right burial place. And when I came over, I felt that, one, my grandmother had let my mother down, and I felt I let my grandmother down because I placed her in the same cemetery to be closer to her daughter and her grandkids. So that was on top of my hurt that I was already feeling. With that being said, I came back 2 days later, and that was May 12th, and I did a video. Me and my friend Mike Baker, he was actually over here on Mother's Day with his mother as well, seeing his mother. We both hopped the gate. So we kind of made a pact that day that we were gonna come over and see the cemetery. We did a full walkthrough, and I think we got like about 30,000 views on that one video.
Wow.
And we made a pact with each other that we're gonna clean up the cemetery for our parents and for their relatives. Right now, this is one house. It's 1715 Greenleaf. This is one house. So we had to come clean their house one section at a time. And every time we came over, we come Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 10 to 3. Sometimes we come a little early. Sometimes we leave a little late. And people start seeing our videos. And we didn't expect this when we initially started. We just started, we need to make other family members happy because we were just so hurt by the whole appearance of the cemetery. And people started volunteering, and then we started getting donations and trash bags and waters, and it became like a community build. You get all walks of life here. You get fraternities, you get businesses, you get private individuals, just people that are seeing these videos and they're coming out on our designated days and they're assisting, and it's all love. And I tell anybody that comes over here, once you cross that entrance gate, you leave emotionally attached. If you come over here, and even though the grounds look like this now, the area that we're in right now was this tall. If you go back in my videos, it was literally this tall. I was literally scared to come back here. So I kind of, with the assistance of Dirt Dog, Tim, that's one of my board members on our nonprofit. Mm-hmm. So I was like, Tim, I need some help. I'm not going back there because it was just too high. You don't know what was here. We had homeless people living in the cemetery, seriously building an encampment.
But not only homeless people, but your own story. How tell the people about your story, because your story is moving.
Okay, so in January, the later part of January, my mother and my three sisters were murdered in our home. I was found. They was bludgeoned to death in our home. So if you don't know what bludgeon is, they was beat with an instrument like a hammer, which was in their case, a hammer. I was going on 3 years old. I know what happened, and I know who did it. It is what it is. But the only memory I have of my mother is that night. And I am going to say this. I know for a fact that my mother and my three sisters, they gave their life for me to have a life. So I'm dedicated to them to my death. You understand? Because they my sisters was 12, 10, and 7. They were babies. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine any of my babies having to sacrifice that. So I owe this to my mother, my sisters, and my grandmother, because my grandmother didn't have it hard. She had to come in and find me. I opened the door for my grandmother, and she witnessed what I had already witnessed. You understand? So, my grandmother, she's over here. She got caught up in that scandal a couple of years ago, 20 years ago, when they were digging up bodies. I know that my grandmother is not where she was supposed to be buried at, but I know where I left her. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be always home. And like I tell people, no, Compton was not the city that I was raised in, but home is where your heart is at. And my
That's
heart
right.
been here since 1977, so this is my home.
That's right.
So I need y'all to understand that Compton is my home. It's been my home. I used to sleep here from the ages of 2.5 to like 9 years old, and I talk about that in my first book.
So you actually slept here in this cemetery.
Yes. In the Garden of Peace.
In the Garden of Peace, on a cot.
On a cot and a green and white blanket.
How long did you sleep here in this cemetery?
Out of a week, we probably came here 3 to 4 times. Out of a week.
3 to 4 times a week, you came here as a child and slept here in the cemetery.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Wow. That's moving just in itself.
You know what? I look at it like this. I said maybe the people, the African Americans that was running the cemetery at that time, understood my grandmother's grieving. So I mean, to be honest, and I'm just gonna show you this, and I was showing her. That is the front page of the newspaper.
Wow.
That baby right there, that's me.
Wow.
And that's my grandmother holding me. That
was a Herald Examiner newspaper.
Yeah, January 25th, 1977.
Wow.
So this is why I'm here.
And I want to commend you for one. This is a large project, and it's a lot for you to be carrying your shoulders. And I'm happy to see that you have so many people who are, one, believing in your vision to create a resting place for their loved ones to be better, to make it, to give those loved ones dignity and respect. And so I appreciate you. We as a state are going to do everything that we can to try to bring this cemetery up. I know the city of Compton is working. The mayor is working on this. The city attorney and all the city council members are working on this to try to, again, build this cemetery up so we can give real dignity to those who are here. I have family members here as well. And so it breaks my heart to see this cemetery being placed in this kind of condition, because it hurts the memory of our loved ones who are buried here in this cemetery. Real quick, tell me about this right here.
Okay, so this is the vet from the Spanish War.
The vet from the Spanish War.
Yeah, so I kind of know, I've been knowing this cemetery from the back of my hand since I was a kid. I used to play all of it. This was my playground, right? So I call it Spanish Heaven. Mm-hmm. So this area is Spanish Heaven. We have Mr. Kastler. He 1919 Civil War.
Mm-hmm. 1919 Civil War.
Yeah, he died 1919.
Right.
But he was in the Civil War. We have 18 unknown soldiers. We have Apprentice Bunchy Carter. He's the founder of the Black Panthers Los Angeles chapter. Mm-hmm. If anybody know who Bojangles is, we have Bojangles in the front.
The Bojangles.
The Bojangles. You know?
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah.
So you know your Black history, you know
who Bojangle is.
He's here. You have countless vets from the Civil War, World War I, II, Desert Storm.
Right.
You know, the history with the cemetery is tremendous, but at the end of the day, it holds my history. So that's why I'm here.
That's why you're here.
One section at a time.
One section at a time. I want to thank you very much for your commitment to the families and the loved ones who are laid to rest here. We appreciate your leadership, and we stand in solidarity with you on this. And so, family, that's it. Again, we're here at Woodlawn Cemetery here in the city of Compton. I'm trying to really rebuild this cemetery, and it's in deplorable conditions. But you should have saw it before Ms. Bishop got involved. The ground is so hard that you can see right through the dirt because the ground is opened up that deep. You can almost see some of the caskets that are here. And so, listen, we're trying to do this work. We can't do this by ourselves. So we ask you, one, pray for all the work that's going on here. Pray for our cities, our countries, our counties, and the state of California, all that we're going through together as a family. This is your boy, Mike. Take care, family. Take care of each other. Be safe and be healthy. We'll be back with some more information on